Wow. Might not, maybe a little too cold to go into the water today, but it is very pretty, and we're really happy to be on Honeymoon Island. I want to thank Speaker Chris Sprowls for joining us and in his neck of the woods. We also have DEP Secretary Shawn Hamilton, Dr. Wes Brooks, who's our Chief Resilience Officer for the state of Florida, Dr. Mark Rains, who's the Chief Science Officer for the state of Florida, Don Sharefs with the Environmental Defense Fund, Dr. Tom Frazier, former Chief Science Officer, now at USF, and then in Pinellas County, I saw Kathleen Peters, Dave Eggers. Do we have any other commissioners? So I have those, and then Ed Montanari from St. Pete. So I want to thank you guys for joining us here today. We've been doing a lot really since I became governor, but particularly recently, and actually getting money out for really key projects related to infrastructure. Part of that has been to support our continuing efforts at restoring the Everglades and our water resources in Florida. We were able to be down in kind of the neck of the woods where the EAA reservoir is going to go yesterday. And we were happy to be able to say that we've delivered and done projects which we proposed and announced in December along with the Speaker. And so I want to thank him. I want to thank Senator Simpson for answering the call and what they did. You now have a dedicated source of funding that's going to come in every year to be a part of this program. It's been a huge, huge deal. And so we've really done what no one's done in Florida before, and we're happy to be able to take the lead. Of course, we've been prioritizing these issues from the beginning. We passed 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, the Clean Waterways Act to improve water quality in Florida. We've also had historic funding, not just for Everglades restoration, water resource projects. If you look at what we've done for Florida Springs, it's been fantastic, supporting things like restoring the Indian River Lagoon over on the other coast of Florida, and then also continuing to fund and increase funding for enhancing and fortifying Florida's shorelines. So we're going to continue to do that. We think this is something that's very, very important, and we're happy to actually be delivering instead of just talking, which so many people always do. We are going to be able to do these projects, and as I said, this legislative session coming up, we're asking in my budget, I'm asking to do basically the same that we did in the current budget. So if you do all of that and you take all of that into account, and you include the local matches for these 2 years, this current budget year next, you're looking at well over $2 billion of projects that will be done between the state and local match. So that's a huge, huge deal, and we're happy to be able to be really making an impact for Florida's communities. And so thanks for everyone who was a part of it. Thanks for stepping up, and thanks for really, I think, doing things that are going to make a big impact for Florida now and in the future. And so with that, we'd love one of the guys responsible for us being here today to come up and say a few words. Speaker Sprowls.
Thank you, Governor. It's great to be with you, with everyone here at Honeymoon Island State Park in Pinellas County, the most beautiful beach in the state of Florida, which I get to say because I live here. Took my wife on our first date just off this causeway. But what we're doing here today is historic. It's historic because never before has the state of Florida or any state gone about protecting our coastline from flooding, from sea level rise like we are in this bill. And the reality is that when I was coming in as Speaker and President Simpson was coming in as President, we realized something very unique, that we were living in this very unique period of time in Florida's history where we had a governor in Ron DeSantis who is the most environmentally friendly governor that in Florida has ever had in our history. And we realized that this unique period of time where we had the chance to do something different, to get ahead of all the problems that we had in our communities on coastal flooding, things that are making our homeowners insurance go up just a couple miles from here in Pinellas County or Miami-Dade or Panama City Beach. We realized that the flooding that was impacting our businesses and our communities was going to have a significant effect on Florida's future, but also that myself, the governor, the president, the House and the Senate, we could do something about it, and it could be big. And that's when you saw us roll out last year the Always Ready bill carried in the House by Representative Demi Busada Cabrera from Coral Gables. And this bill, for the first time, vets projects. Now think about that. You drive through Pinellas County or Miami, you're passing overpasses and roads that were planned years in advance, a whole work plan dedicated by experts to decide this whole vision for the state about transportation. Well, what about our environment? Doesn't that deserve the same level of scrutiny and projects and experts and long-term vision? And because of the governor's leadership, the Always Ready bill does exactly that. It takes what we do in transportation and transforms that vision into the environment. And the announcement that we're here to make today is hundreds of millions of extra dollars into those projects will truly transform our community over years. You know, on the way here, the governor and I were talking about the fact that, you know, there's multiple years worth of projects that are being announced today. This isn't 6 months or a year, 3 years worth of projects. The governor has done more in his time in his first term than any governor has done in 2 terms for Florida's environment. And today is just another historic example of what we are doing and how we are leading the way in the state of Florida in order to accomplish the goal of environmental resiliency and protecting our communities from flooding. Governor, thank you so much for your leadership and the leadership of your department. We're happy to help you here in Pinellas County. I know Tom Frazier from the College of Marine Science, USF St. Petersburg, is here with us today. What's going to be important about that is the bill we're talking about today, the flood hub for innovation, is going to be right here in Pinellas County. So a lot of the expertise and science that's going to help the Department of Environmental Protection to vet these projects over the next several years will come from right here from the University of South Florida. We're proud of them. Governor, thank you again for your leadership.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your support. All right, Secretary of DEP, Shawn Hamilton.
Thank you, Governor. First, I want to acknowledge, along with the Speaker, welcome to one of the greatest state parks on the face of the planet. So I'm sorry we couldn't get it a little warmer for you here, but I hope you enjoy the scenery. So it's a pleasure to be here with the Governor and the Speaker, of course, again, to celebrate another historical environmental milestone for the state of Florida. You know, Florida is, of course, faced with some very unique environmental challenges, including sea level rise and flooding and storm surge. We are fortunate that the Governor DeSantis and the Florida legislature and our state's local governments have continued to recognize that the resilience of our coastlines and inland communities are at the forefront of environmental issues facing our state. Storm surge, flooding, erosion, saltwater intrusion, stormwater management will be exacerbated by sea level rise, you know, which again is already a problem in some of our communities. So to be ready for the changes that will occur as sea levels rise, we must continue to plan, as the Speaker noted, prepare for the possibility of these impacts. To tackle this critical issue, May 12, 2021, Governor DeSantis signed into law Senate Bill 1954, House Bill 7019. This comprehensive legislation ensures, as the Speaker noted, a comprehensive approach to Florida's coastal and inland resilience. The targeted funding and directives establish a structure for resilience that follows the best available science and data while enhancing efforts to protect our inland and coastal resources that act as natural defenses against sea level rise. Late last year, DEP submitted the state's first, and again, I iterate this, the first ever statewide flooding and sea level rise resilience plan to the state legislature. And today I'm glad to be here to announce additional projects that will mitigate, prepare for, and reduce existing and anticipated adverse impacts of sea level rise, flooding, and storm surge. The 113 projects that the governor announced include 5 projects right here in Pinellas County. This includes 3 living shoreline projects for the Gulfport Marina, the City of Treasure Island, and Philippi Park. 2 infrastructure projects for wastewater and for collection and utilities. Again, all important steps forward. These projects will buffer these communities from sea level rise and storm surge, address flooding, and fortify infrastructure to protect human health and safety. Today is a great step forward. I look forward to working with our communities, as the Speaker noted, with our experts at the Florida Flood Hub. But again, more importantly, I want to thank you for the leadership and the partnership that brought us here today. Again, if you think about the role of our Chief Resiliency Officer that the Governor championed early on, if you think about all of the leadership from the legislature, if you think about the energy that's put into this program, we are definitely on a path for achieving one of the greatest resilience and planning efforts in the nation. So thank you again for your support.
Okay. Dr. Wes Brooks.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Secretary Hamilton and Speaker Sprowls and the legislature for the continued focus on planning and execution of resilience projects around our great state, and especially through this Resilient Florida program. You know, 2 months ago, Secretary Hamilton and I stood alongside our governor on the shores of Tampa Bay, just right over there to the east, to announce the first ever statewide flooding and sea level rise resilience plan. That plan, as you've heard, featured a commitment of more than $270 million in state funding for 76 high-priority projects that were requested by local governments to help protect critical infrastructure, secure water supplies, boost wetlands conservation, and reduce flood impacts. Today, our governor has announced another list of 113 resilience projects, including 5 here in Pinellas County. We've got 3 new living shoreline projects going in at Safety Harbor, Treasure Island, and Gulfport. We've got some county-wide utility reliability improvements to mitigate flood and windstorm vulnerability. And we're also helping to promote construction of critical wastewater infrastructure, which will also help reduce impacts from flooding and also make sure that residents' health and environmental factors are protected when those flooding events occur. All of these newly announced projects are to be funded with more than $400 million from the Resilient Florida program. A lot of numbers are being thrown today, but I just want to put it in context. So with the statewide resilience plan projects, the local match funding, the funding we're providing today, that's over $1.2 billion being invested in 189 projects that will be designed or implemented really over the next 3 years. And we're not done, right? The governor's Freedom First budget includes another $500 million request so that we can roll out another large set of projects to help provide more support for local communities to protect what they care about and what their residents need in the future. Under Governor DeSantis' bold vision and leadership, and through partnership with the legislature, the state of Florida is leading the way on resilience through action. And I look forward to continuing to enhance our communication, our coordination, and innovation across federal, state, and local governments to help ensure that we have a better prepared and more prosperous future available for Floridians in every community, whether it's inland or coastal. Thank you, Governor.
All right. Well, we're excited, and it's been great to work with a lot of the local communities. We appreciate the folks in Pinellas here, both at the county level, also people like Ed at the city level, and we're going to keep doing that because we know it's important. Also, just watching kind of some of the football games this weekend. I mean, I look back, 2 Sundays ago, and I mean, like, it was a really difficult loss for Tampa Bay. I really believe had they won that, I think they would have beaten the 49ers and would be in the Super Bowl and would be the favorite to win. And so the issue is I know there's discussion about Tom Brady's future. I mean, the only thing I would say is he had one of the greatest years that anybody has ever had. He's like 44 years old. I mean, like, he has not missed a beat on anything, and I think they were banged up down the stretch, and you think if you can kind of shore up some of those some of the aspects of the team, that they could easily make a run again. Obviously, I don't think that they would make a serious run, without Tom, at the helm. And so I saw the reports, and I was like, oh, man. And then I was glad to hear him say, hey, I haven't made a decision yet. So who knows what's going to happen. But all I can say is, he's better at 44 than just about any of these other guys at 28 or 30 in their primes. And, that's part of the reason why he's the best ever put on the spikes. All right, any questions? Yes, ma'am. So they are. So we'll talk to the secretary about that. They've got massive amounts of stuff that's going on that they're processing across a whole wide range of issues. But we want to get it processed. So we'll work with them and see how they can expedite it. That's important for people. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Thanks so much. That's all right. I didn't know how we'd be able to. Thanks so much. Yeah, hey, thanks. Mr. Secretary,
Yeah, we're going to Miami in the back.
Big projects that I'm looking